Manifesto 2015. With us, the leader of the Congress of the People, Mr. Prakash Ramadan, and expected will be a leader of the NJAC. I think they're engaged in a meeting at the moment, so we look forward to seeing them here shortly. So thank you very much for joining us, and this is basically the document that we will be presenting to members of the media and others who have visited. And on Monday coming, we intend to do a Manifesto Monday, in which every constituency will be engaged in going through this document and making sure that they internalize the plans and programs contained in the document. Before I speak on the details of it, I want to congratulate and thank Dr. Bo Tiwari, our Honorable Minister of Planning and Sustainable Development, for his very hard work in putting together all the thoughts, the ideas and suggestions which came from people throughout Trinidad and Tobago, from the parties comprising the partnership, and putting this document together in time. So 1 month from today, in fact, will be election 2015, September 7, when the people of Trinidad and Tobago will decide whether they want our country to continue moving forward, or whether they want to return to a PNM-dominated past, which was so comprehensively rejected in 2010. Today, this document lays out our vision for the next 5 years of a People's Partnership government. In 2010, under the then government, Trinidad and Tobago was in decline, with thousands of persons unemployed and families are struggling to make ends meet. People were actually fleeing the country, with murder and violent crime at record levels, and corruption was high. For too long, PNM politicians had ignored voters' wishes and acted out of self-interest. My government has turned this around and delivered stability and progress. Now, Trinidad and Tobago rides high in international happiness tables because we have delivered in this first term, over the past 5 years, over 100 new schools, refurbished and or built over 100 new health centers with extended opening hours in many of those, created 56,000 new jobs and over 11,000 businesses within the last 2 years. We took water supply from about 18%, and now it has moved to 70% of the population. And we constructed hundreds of new roads and thousands of new homes. These are just some of the matters, and I'm very proud that we were able to deliver 90% of our 2010 manifesto promises, delivered and or in progress. And so when we hold our manifesto today, we will not only talk about it, but we will be able to deliver because we have a track record of delivery. We are working to build a better and brighter Trinidad and Tobago. So as I launch this manifesto today, I say my plan is very clear: to deliver security, prosperity, and a better future for everyone. I say directly to the people of Trinidad and Tobago that the policies contained within this manifesto are designed to deliver more jobs, zero tolerance on crime, safer streets, improved childcare, new schools for your children, new roads creating jobs and linking communities, and new hospitals to care for your family. Going forward, we will make a dedicated effort to further diversify our economy, to create jobs and promote growth, and to improve the lives of people throughout Trinidad and Tobago. With respect to the economy, we have a clear economic plan. We have already made Trinidad and Tobago an economic powerhouse in the region. By 2020, we will double the export of locally manufactured products, and we will increase employment in the manufacturing sector by about 50%. We also intend to grow export in the services sector and also create more jobs in that sector. Strong regional economic centers called growth poles will be created in key areas of Trinidad and Tobago to create jobs. As I've outlined in recent speeches, the green economy in Trinidad and Tobago will be developed, creating jobs, new businesses, and economic growth. The blue economy will be developed, helping the coastal communities of Trinidad and Tobago rely on the aquatic resources for their survival. We will also develop the silver economy to benefit our older citizens and stimulate our economy as a whole. With respect to national security, crime concerns me as it concerns you. I want our families and their children to be safe. I am committed to ridding our country of the blight of crime and to ensuring law and order. During the past 5 years, we have been able to bring serious crimes down by about 50%, and that is the lowest ever recorded levels in 31 years. Crime and law and order remain a #1 issue facing our country and will remain a top priority for a second term in office. I will take a zero-tolerance approach to crime. Let me repeat that, a zero-tolerance approach to crime. In our next term in office, we will continue the emphasis on more effective law enforcement, policing, and border control. We will also strengthen surveillance and control of our territorial borders to stem the illegal entry of goods and people. The health of our nation is also very important. We have a strong conviction that no person should ever have to worry about their health care. We will continue to provide improved free care at our 105 health centers across the country and at our hospitals for all, including our pregnant mothers, babies, and infants, so that our children will get the best possible start in life. Education and children. Education is the key to unlocking the potential in all our children. I am very proud that our government introduced the Children's Life Fund and the Baby Grant, amongst other initiatives for the care of our children. Looking after our nation's children is vital and helps hard-working parents. We will provide a place for every child at early childhood level, at the primary level, and at secondary school, and will continue to grow the tertiary education sector, in which we have already surpassed our goal of a 60% participation. That was our target for 2015. We have surpassed that goal. We are now at 65% tertiary level participation. We will improve the quality of education for all in our country, school by school. We will develop and roll out a comprehensive school curriculum from the pre-primary to secondary education level. With respect to housing, my plan is to help every family who needs a home, and it includes more and better jobs, squatter regularization, land for the landless, low-cost mortgages, and home acquisition supported by the HDC. We are committed to economic justice through widespread land ownership, home ownership, and share ownership. In fact, I believe on Monday we will roll out the IPO with respect to the Phoenix Gas, in which we will be giving for the first time ever the opportunity for citizens of Trinidad and Tobago to own a share in the energy sector which is the one that sustains us. So we are looking at, as I say, land ownership, home ownership, and share ownership in the resources of Trinidad and Tobago. That way, striving to create equal opportunity for all and indeed prosperity across the land. And so our plan is to create better homes for every family. With respect to transport and infrastructure, improving infrastructure and building roads connect people, stimulates our economy, and improves lives. My government has constructed roads, drains, sidewalks, bridges, community centers, fixing landscapes across the land. We will continue to link communities by building the Point 14 highway to San Fernando and Faisabad, the San Fernando to Mayaro highway, the Port of Spain to Chaguaramas highway causeway. These are but some of the infrastructural projects in that regard. We will alleviate traffic problems. Transport hubs will be constructed in several areas, including Chaguanas, Arima, St. Augustine. We will have a dedicated school bus transportation and dedicated bus services for industrial estate workers as well. We will have dedicated, predictable bus rapid transit systems from north to south and east to west being introduced. Tourism, we will deliver major flagship projects such as the establishment of dry docking facilities in La Brea, a medical tourism hospital in the East-West Corridor, the San Fernando Waterfront Development Project, and the Mayaro Hotel Tourism Project. These are but some of the areas in tourism. ICT, we are committed to continuing development of a comprehensive broadband network. This will connect our communities to lower business costs and boost knowledge. Equality and equity, a very important plank for us in this country. I am very proud to have been the first female Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, and certainly will not be the last female Prime Minister. And so we will address the issue of equal pay for equal work by men and women. We will also work to the implementation of a national agenda policy, ensuring that women stand really equally side by side with men. Water. Clean water supplies are vital. We have brought clean water supplies to about 74% of the population. We will continue the development of water supplies with the construction of more kilometers of water lines. Sport, we know, transforms and improves lives. And so in addition to other sports projects that we have, we will transform the Turuba facility into the Turuba Sport Academy, in that way providing training for our young sportsmen and women. Procurement. We will ensure good governance through procurement reform, and I'm very happy to say that we have kept our promise with the procurement legislation. I had promised in my conversations in 2010 that within 30 days of coming to Parliament, we will lay the documents, the draft bills, and all related documentation in the Parliament with a move to passing procurement legislation. Along the way, we faced obstacles from the opposition. In fact, the opposition did not even pass or vote for the bill when we eventually passed it. When the Parliament was dissolved in June, the bill had been passed in both houses of the Parliament, but it had not been proclaimed. We then set up an implementation committee headed by former President of the Senate, Senator Hammer-Smith, including others, stakeholders on that committee for implementation of the legislation. And I'm very happy to say that we have now proclaimed various sections of the legislation on July 29th, and we continue with implementation of that legislation. And so we will continue to ensure good governance through procurement reform, with enlightened political party financing regime, and with free and fair elections and strong independent institutions. As I close, I say in this election, there is a crucial choice for voters, as only two people can become Prime Minister after the election on September 7. You will have on your ballot, really, whichever vote you make will decide whether the opposition leader becomes Prime Minister or whether I remain as Prime Minister of the country of Trinidad and Tobago. I have shown I am a strong unifying leader working through a plan. I need more time to finish the job, to continue to change Trinidad and Tobago, and to secure a better future for you, your families, and your children. The contrast on the other side, the opposition leader yet has to disclose his plans and his policies. 285 days ago, the opposition leader said he will roll out his plans. We still await those plans. And so here we are with you today. I've spoken on this, but this is our comprehensive plan to take us forward in the next 5 years as we go into a second term in government. We will continue to build a better Trinidad and Tobago by keeping track on our economy. We will continue to invest in education and training to help people get better jobs. We will continue taking a zero-tolerance approach to crime so people feel safe and protected. We will continue to improve the delivery of quality health care. We will continue to build crucial infrastructure to link our communities and improve lives. And so I urge all our citizens to vote for strong and stable government to secure your future, to secure your family's future, and most important, to secure the future of the children of Trinidad and Tobago. I thank you all very much. May God continue to bless you, and may God continue to bless Trinidad and Tobago.
From Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar outlining what the manifesto released today. At this time, they will be presenting a video here at the Arang West North Secondary School. Let's take in some of what that is saying.
Our children deserve the best possible start in life. A good education is the foundation of success and prosperity.
A good education is important, but it's just the start. There need to be good jobs for young people at the end of it.
Things are really getting better when it comes to crime, but it's still an issue. There are still real concerns. We need real decisive actions to keep our streets and our countries safe.
Good quality, free healthcare is a priority for me and my family.
I want my family to be safer, healthier, better educated, and more prosperous.
I want action to make our country stronger.
I want new, better jobs for workers and our unemployment rate to remain low.
I support improvement. I really want improvement to the lives of my family and everyone in our country.
And that's what Kamla Persad-Bissessar's plan for Trinidad and Tobago will achieve. So on 7th September, let's keep going forward with a Prime Minister who has a plan for a country and a vision for our future.
And there you've heard from the videos a number of persons outlining their views on the Kamla 2015 campaign and why you should re-elect the Prime Minister. We're going to hear from now Bo Tuari. He is about to address us. The Prime Minister referenced him during his address. Let's hear what he has to say at this time.
Thank you very much, photographers, and thank you very much everyone who is here today, but especially the members of the media. And as the Honorable Prime Minister indicated, this is a media launch. So now that we have the manifesto, we know that you have not read the manifesto yet, but you got a good insight into some of the key areas articulated by the Honorable Prime Minister. And besides the manifesto, what the Honorable Prime Minister was holding up here in the inside covers are the 20 pledges for 2020. And these are available. It will be distributed before you leave, together with a copy of the manifesto. But we'd like to open the session to questions from the media. And we would ask the media to ask any questions they like. The Honorable Prime Minister will field some of the questions, and I would field other questions that might be referred to me or that I feel is directly up my alley, so to speak. Thank you. Media? Go ahead.
I'm very happy to thank you very much. Since there are no questions from the media, shall we proceed with the program? Thank you all very much and have a great day. I think we have something else. No? Okay. No, they have a song. Yes. Well, I will take the opportunity to introduce you to a song by a very well-known, famous, popular singer, Nigel Rojas. Can we welcome Nigel Rojas, please?
Good evening, good afternoon, all protocols observed. This song is called Clear the Way, and it's speaking about clearing the way not only to the victory of the People's Partnership 2015, but clear the way to more progress and more development and more love nationwide. DJ!
I can't hear nor can I see or touch, but I feel it. The future and the past become entwined. I look around and feel a sense of pride. This nation is yours and mine, and we need it. Together we're moving on into the future. Whoa. Together we're like a tree with deep, strong roots, yeah. Whoa. Together let's plant the seeds and pick the fruits, yeah. So it's you and me in unity, and this is our country. So clear the way, clear the way. Yes, we're clearing out the way to a better, brighter day now. Clear the way, clear the way. Because the People's Partnership and the love is here to stay now. Clear the way, clear the way. Yes, we're clearing out the way to a better, brighter day now. Clear the way, clear the way. Because the People's Partnership and the love is here to stay. Together we will fight. They can't put out this light. It's 5 more years to go to finish what we start. Come help us clear the path. It's 5 more years to go. Put God and country first. Who God bless, no man curse. It's 5 more years to go. All this progress is a must to first world nation status. It's 5 more years to go. Victory 2015. Do you all agree with me? Well.
Kamla 2015.
There's something in the air that's calling me. Something I can't hear nor can I see or touch, but I feel it.
Kamla.
The future and the past become entwined. I look around and feel a sense of pride. This nation is yours and mine, and we need it. Together we're moving on into the future. Whoa. Together we're like a tree with deep, strong roots, yeah. Whoa. Together let's plant the seeds and pick the fruits, yeah. So it's you and me in unity, and this is our country. So clear the way, clear the way. Yes, we're clearing out the way to a better, bright together we will fight. They can't put out this light. It's 5 more years to go to finish what we start. Come help us clear the path. It's 5 more years to go. All this progress is a must to first world nation status. It's 5 more years to go. Who God bless, no man curse. Put God and country first. It's 5 more years to go. Cause I say forward ever, backward never. Building a new TNT, it's you and me together. Forward ever, backward never. Building a new TNT, it's you and me together. Forward ever, backward never. Building a new TNT, it's you and me together. Forward ever, backward never. Building a new TNT, the partnership forever. Clear the way, clear the way. Yes, we clearing out the way to a better, brighter day now. Clear the way, clear the way. Because the people's partnership and the love is here to stay now. Clear the way, clear the way. Because the people's partnership and the love is here to stay now. Clear the way, clear the way. Because the people's partnership and the love is here to stay now. Say forward ever, backward never. Building all the people, it is you and me together. Forward ever, backward never. Building a new TNT, the partnership forever. Forward ever, backward never. Building a new TNT, it's you and me together. Forward ever, backward never. Building a new TNT, the partnership forever. Forward ever, backward never. Forward ever, backward never. Come forward ever, backward never. Forward ever, backward never. Victory, victory. Victory 2015.
Kamla 2015. The People's Partnership.
Well, well. Boom. Thank you very much. It's a great honor. Victory.
Okay, questions? I think the media is ready now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, Madam Prime Minister. Jabari Fraser, TV6 News. In the first instance, I'd just like to ask, what are the items that you'd list as being most important to tackle in the first 30 days of your term, should you come to power again, and what exactly is meant by enlightened political party finance regime? Do you plan to bring legislation soon in the first year or so maybe of your parliamentary term?
Thank you, Jabari. Let me just locate this for you. Whilst I locate for you the content on the first 100 days, I believe you asked on the first 30 days, on the issue of campaign financing, we have already taken steps to deal with the issue of disclosure of campaign finance. And so we're looking at campaign finance reform. When we were in opposition, then Member of Parliament Ganga Singh had brought a motion to Parliament for government and the Parliament to approve campaign finance reform for disclosure of the financing of campaigns, election campaigns. The then government rejected the motion, did not support it. In this last Parliament, the 10th Parliament of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, Independent Senator Helen Drayton brought a motion to the Senate for campaign finance reform. As a government, we accepted the motion. It was debated, sent to a Joint Select Committee, and the Joint Select Committee created a report. That report was laid into Parliament. On the last day of the 10th Parliament, whilst I was in there, I spoke of taking the recommendations of that Joint Select Committee, having it sent to the Law Reform Commission, for the Law Reform Commission to consider those recommendations, to look at legislation around the world, and to draft us a green paper on the way forward. On that last day, in June of this year, I also committed that once we received the report of the Law Reform Commission, we would lay that in Parliament with a view to having a bill drafted, having consultations and a bill draft. So the commitment is yes, that is a priority area. It will be for legislative implementation, because I do not believe the parties without legislation to guide and to mandate the disclosure of campaign finance. Parties may not be inclined. And already you have talks coming from the various parties saying, well, if the others agree, they will do it. I have also said the same, that we will not be out there alone. All parties should agree. But I think the more important thing, apart from just oral agreements between the political parties, there should be strong legislation in the Parliament. And I have given a commitment that I will work in our second term, early in that second term, upon receipt of the law reform report, to provide in the necessary legislation for campaign finance reform. On the second issue, sure. You may ask me, Jabari, about the first 30 days. Well, the first 30 days, I've already committed, when we return to Parliament, I will once again lay the bill for the regularization of squatters. We had already drafted it. It was already before the House. We will bring that back within the first 30 days, which you asked about, and have it passed in Parliament. We will also, within the first 30 days, present the 2015-2016 budget for debate in the Parliament and for passage in the Parliament. As you well know, the budget has to be passed on or before 31 October. So that will also be introduced in the House, in the Parliament, within the first 30 days. There are several other areas that we have identified at pages 20 et al. In the manifesto document, in terms of policies, projects for the first 100 days in government. The first of these, of course, is presentation of the budget. But we'll also mandate the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service to roll out their plans for the hotspots, the safe zones, community policing, police presence, traffic management, detection rate targets, and resource allocation for detection rate improvement, and other strategic actions for systematic, drastic reduction in crime within defined timeframes. Within that first 100 days, of course, we will also expedite to operationalize full implementation of the Procurement Act. And of course, we will engage in stakeholder consultations with business, labor, civil society, academia, and others. And all these groups we will consult together with a view to operating collaboratively on a national agenda. We will begin the practice of referring all complex bills to a joint select committee prior to commencement of debate in the Parliament. We will set into motion a program for distribution of laptops to all first-year university students. This will be in addition to those given to secondary school students. We will also introduce either the iPads or tablets on a phased basis for primary schools programs, primary school students. We will take action to escalate conversion to CNG of all government vehicles. This will help us to reduce the petroleum subsidy and, of course, give us a greener, more friendly environment as we move away from the petroleum into clean energy, CNG. As I said, we will ensure that the squatters bill is laid and passed in the Parliament, and thereafter to take steps to implement that legislation. Of course, I have many others. I don't even want me to read all of them, Jabari. Pages 18, I mean, they're very exciting, you know. Page 20, 21, I can continue. We will engage the judiciary to come up with a workable plan to reduce the backlog of cases with targets and timelines. We will initiate action to establish a financially independent judiciary. We'll establish a ministerial and multi-stakeholder commission to monitor and have oversight of 10 flagship projects as a partnership. And we will establish 5 additional partnership commissions at a national level for building social capital to generate the trust and cooperation necessary for becoming a nation breaking out of the middle income trap. In addition to the 10 flagship projects which I've spoken about already, these partnerships will focus on innovation-led growth, the diversification agenda, increased productivity, peace, security and justice, social inclusion and protection. In other words, for each of these we will establish a national commission. So these are some of the plans for the first, to be initiated in the first 100 days, and as I said, there are others continuing on the further pages of the manifesto.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister. We have 3 more reporters. First, Kamal Georges from CNC3.
Sure. Good afternoon, Dr. Tiwari, Madam Prime Minister. I wanted to focus on the issue of transport. You mentioned in your presentation a rapid bus transportation system. Just wanted to get an idea as to how that will work, especially since these buses will be using the same congested roadways. And the issue of rail system has been in the public, in the news for the last couple of weeks, and I wanted to know what is the position on that.
Okay, we are looking for easing traffic congestion in several ways. One, of course, is improving our road grid, the network, road network, improving road works throughout the country. That's one. 2, the decentralization of goods and services so that we do not have that gridlock coming into and out of Port of Spain. In fact, we've already begun that decentralization. We have already begun that decentralization in the Ministry of Tertiary Education and Skills Training. They have completed their construction of that building outside of Port of Spain. And that is just one. So decentralizing government services, goods and services, in terms of the ministries, but also in terms of the services that are offered. We have already begun that process by allowing our citizens to go online in the Ministry of Legal Affairs, for example, to access many of the services that you would have had to journey to Port of Spain to get, talking about birth certificates, death certificates, marriage certificates, and so on, issues relating to the companies registry. So using the online networking for accessing services, again, avoids the amount of congestion of traffic coming into Port of Spain. So one, decentralization of goods and services by moving actual ministries, by using the online network, and further, the creation of transport hubs. I mentioned that already. So it will be in the nature of a park and ride, where these transport hubs are concentrated. Instead of everybody, one passenger in a car or 2, traveling into wherever, you park and you ride in block. How would the dedicated buses help, you asked me? They will certainly help. Again, with the vehicles, with the cars, you have one car, may have 5 people in it, or may have one. Everybody in this country wants a car. We don't blame them for that. I mean, it is a sign of prosperity. As I mentioned before, we have already reached, what is it, PDJ in a new series, and already crossed over 1,000 vehicles, probably going into 2,000 and so on. So people want their vehicles, but best use of it, if you use the park and ride, that's the transport hubs. We use the dedicated buses. One of the problems with using the PTSC, the public transport at this time, is the reliability. The reliability and how often they run. So the plan is to have a more reliable service of the public transport, and of course on a regular basis. So it's not like you're standing here and you get one bus for the day to go from north to south, east to west, or vice versa. So a dedicated bus service in that regard, and more reliable, efficient. In addition to that, we want to work towards having a dedicated school bus system. This too will ease congestion, because then children will have a safer, more secure mode of transport to get to and from schools. Not only will this deal with traffic issues, but it also will help with the safety and security of our children, and of course the lowering of the cost of transport for children and therefore for families to and from schools. These are some of the areas. On the issue of the rail, yes, it is true that the government proposal was brought to my cabinet for a light rail system. That is true. When we were in opposition and even in government, we were not opposed to a railway. What we were opposed to was the process that the PNM was employed and had intended to employ, the massive cost of the project of that rapid rail that they were proposing and now are still proposing, the cost factor, and basically the feasibility of it. If you read and check it out, the research will show you a rapid rail something is one where you expect it to have at least a 3-hour run. If you want to go from St. Augustine to Sama, that's not a rapid rail. You're looking at a light rail which stops along the way, along the corridor. And the proposal came, we did not sign off on it completely, so there is no denying we had looked at the issue of a light rail, but we are still totally opposed to a rapid rail system as put forward by the opposition because of the cost factor, because of the feasibility factor, and of course the efficiency of the use of such a system. Dr. Tiwari, is there anything else? Yeah.
Yes. I just want to add something to that. If your strategy for the country is to develop across the country, breaking the traditional ribbon pattern of east-west, north-south, then a rapid rail of the kind that we are talking about makes little sense. You're not going to have the passenger levels that you are going to need, and you're not going to be able to address the problems that a rapid rail addresses. That is more suited to a situation that is highly centralized and which everybody is going in the same direction at certain points in time. And with decentralization, in addition, the development of growth poles and so on, you need to have a system that is more distributional in its effect and that can allow you to go from point to point with a high level of efficiency. And that is why the Honorable Prime Minister indicated that we're going to have a series of things. And in addition to that, of course, the traffic management issue itself. So you have decentralization, you have park and ride, you have dedicated bus services that are really express services, north and south and east and west. And then you have dedicated bus services to certain particular areas. So school children, for instance, one category, industrial estates, another one, and so on. So it's a very comprehensive, well thought out plan that is linked to the future strategy for development, that is linked to your infrastructure, such as your road systems, etc., and your growth pole and decentralization strategy.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister. Minister Tiwari. We also have Kamal Georges again with a second question.
I wanted to get your positions, Madam Prime Minister, on some issues we've not heard discussed during this election campaign, and that is the issue of abortion, gay rights, and the legalization of marijuana, issues that have been discussed in other Caribbean countries, but we haven't heard them in this campaign. And in the context that referendum is not necessarily part of our law, what are your positions on those?
Okay, very touchy questions, which I think many people would like answers to. On the issue of, I will not speak about you talked about legalizing marijuana. The issue is one of decriminalizing marijuana. It is an issue that has been taken up by the CARICOM. It is still being considered, and therefore I would await the position from the rest of the CARICOM, and indeed for further consultations in Trinidad and Tobago before we move forward. Several states in the United States have already decriminalized marijuana for medicinal purposes, and the CARICOM has been looking at that aspect of it. As I say, there is in fact a commission that had been set up by CARICOM, and we would await that. When we get their report, we will also have to take it to our public for further consultations. The second issue was about
abortion.
Again, abortion issues at the moment, that is not the law of Trinidad and Tobago. For us to make that into law, I think widespread stakeholder consultations would be necessary before any such steps can be taken. On the issue of gay rights, again, that is a very controversial and sensitive issue. Many are in favor of such rights being legislated for, others are not. I have spoken on this before with respect to our religious community, very much against it. But we are, again, on that issue, we need further consultations, stakeholder-wide. It is not something we can sit in an ivory tower and make a decision about. Yet further, we are committed to basic human rights for all. and we are of the view that it should not be discrimination against any person in Trinidad and Tobago. There should be no discrimination. And the issues are two, therefore. One is the issue of legalizing or decriminalizing, no, it's still on gay rights, and the other issue is about the respect for human rights. And I want you to get it very clearly. My government has taken no decision on the issue of gay rights, that is to legalize or otherwise, or decriminalize or otherwise. However, my government says, and I say, that we respect basic human rights for every citizen of Trinidad and Tobago. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister. And thank you, Kamal. Now we have Karen Cozier-Phillip from C News with a question.
Good afternoon, Prime Minister. Good afternoon, Dr. Tiwari. We're seeing here the launch of the People's Partnership Manifesto, but we're yet to see 41 candidates. I know you held discussions last evening with the leaders of the different parties. Can you tell us how those discussions went, and how do you allay the fears of constituents that you don't yet have 41 candidates?
In every single general election held in Trinidad and Tobago, 41 candidates are scheduled to be nominated 3 weeks prior to election date. The nomination day is August 17th. We will have all 41 candidates to be nominated on August 17th. So do not fear, do not panic. You know, you remember when people were saying, when is election date? When is election date? Call election. I said, don't jump at me. I will call the election when it is constitutionally due. And now also with respect to the candidates, don't jump at me to name our candidates. They will be named in due course, well within the time framework and within the law of Trinidad and Tobago. And Karen, when we show you those 41 candidates, you will be sure, as I am, that we will have victory on September 7th.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Karen has one more question.
My second question refers to the title of the manifesto. The PNM's Vision 2020 was heavily criticized. How does your 20 pledges for 2020 differ from that of the PNM's previous Vision 2020?
It differs in almost every single aspect. Our philosophy of governance is very different from that of the PNM. What is our foundational principle or principles? That is where we differ from the PNM, and therefore our initiatives, the 20 pledges, will differ from theirs. We have always put people at the center. Our philosophy of governance is people-centered development. And that is why I said in 2010, my legacy will not be in tall buildings. My legacy will be in schools and in hospitals. And in this first 5 years, we have, in fact, delivered with respect to those. So if you hear, it's difficult to compare our plan with the PNM plan, because they have no plan. They have none. 285 days later, they have no plan after saying they will roll it out. So we have a clear plan. It is comprehensive in this document, and therefore we will go forward. So you're saying how the 20 pledges differ from their 2020. Well, I understand their 2020 plan has now become a 2030 plan and so on. Just these little typo changes from what was rejected in 2010. That 2020 vision document of the then government, which is a PNM in government then, that was rejected totally by the electorate in 2010. And any attempt to regurgitate that and recycle that plan, because we have nothing else to, as I said, they have no other plan, will be again totally rejected at the polls. Dr. Tiwari would like to come in. Yeah.
When you read the manifesto, you will see that what the manifesto really indicates is that, first of all, the strategy in the manifesto is to break out of the middle income trap of being a 20,000 per capita country. Then you will see the second thing is to green the economy. The Prime Minister has talked over and over about the green, the blue, the silver economy. And to green the economy is dominant, driving the process. Thirdly, what you will see as well is that it is a continuity from the fact that we have been a government for 5 years performing and developing and diversifying the economy. So that many of the things that you might normally find in a manifesto about foreign policy or culture, etc., are not included in the manifesto because there is a continuity between what we have done and what we are doing now. What we are doing now and what we are going to do. The Vision 2020 was the PNM's articulation about a destination and time in 2020 when they would achieve something for the country. But that was never articulated clearly, so nobody knows what the meaning of 2020 is. I paused for that on purpose. Nobody knew what the meaning of 2020 would be for the country. What the Prime Minister has outlined are 20 things that will be actually achieved in specific areas that mean a lot to the people of Trinidad and Tobago, because the focus is on the development of people, people-centered development, and so that they can understand that all these plans for manufacturing, for services, for growth poles, for economic zones, for green economy, blue economy, silver economy, etc., will translate into real things that affect people's lives day to day and lift them up in the system.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister and Minister Tiwari. We now have Larry Dumsland from CTV to ask a two-part question, and then we will have Kamal Georges again from CNC3 to ask the final question.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister. My question directed to you is to deal with the issues in the public domain as it pertains to the announcement of the new head of the public service. Now, Dr. Keith Rowley has indicated that you did not have the authorization to do so, and it should have come from the public service. What are your position on this?
The opposition leaders got it all wrong again. It's not the first time. I have acted within the confines of the Constitution and the law of Trinidad and Tobago, for which I make no apology. And that's the end of that story.
Thank you. And part two of that question has to do with the Debates Commission. You took part a week ago in the leadership exchange held by CNMG. Dr. Rowley did not take part in that, but one of the moderators, a PNM, self-professed PNM, has been publicly criticized in the last week for that matter. What do you have to say about that?
I am saying I really had looked forward to a one-on-one debate with the opposition leader to share and exchange plans and programs for the next 5 years of our country. The Debates Commission had set July 30, as you well know. We accepted that date of July 30 in good faith. We blocked the time, CMG blocked the time for a July 30 debate. I expected the opposition leader to attend. The opposition leader subsequently, as matters unfolded, did not attend. I attended for leadership exchange. I'm very happy I did. I think I was able to share plans and policies and programs, yes. And thereafter, the Debates Commission is saying, well, they now have the 20th and the 27th of August, which are dates that are not available for me because I have rolled out my campaign and planned my time to be spent in very productive ways. And so there's the date change. But you know what was more disturbing was that there was a leakage of confidential information out of the negotiations, and that set us back immediately. Were they operating in good faith? Were they operating bona fide when they engaged us for the debate? So that caused some concern. And then when a person who participated on the 30th of July as one of the panelists, a self-professed member and activist of the opposition party, now says that the Debates Commission is in the pocket of the PNM, or the PNM is in the pocket of the Debates Commission, then you have even greater cause for concern. And I would say in that circumstance where it is now being revealed by the PNM activists that they had actually struck a deal, the PNM and the Debates Commission had their own deal, then it meant that they were never intended to be fair to me to participate in that debate. But never intended to be. And I didn't know that then. But God is always great. God is always great. And I proceeded with the July 30th. And now, given the revelations that have come, I am certain that I will not be granted a fair hearing in any debate that is moderated by and carried out or produced by the Debates Commission. We will not be given a fair hearing based on what the PNM activist has indicated thus far. So, Kamal, you can tell your bosses I will not be participating in that debate.
Welcome to this afternoon's Playway Pick 2 and Pick 4 draw, supervised by independent auditors KPMG and presided over by the National Lotteries Control Board. Good luck, everyone.
Good afternoon, it's Friday the 7th of August 2015. Welcome to the 4 p.m. drawing of the Playway Pick 2 and Pick 4 numbers, where players can win $26 for every $1 played on the winning mark when the green ball calls, $28 when the red ball calls, $30 when the silver ball calls, and $33 for every $1 played when the gold ball calls. First we'll draw today's Playway number. And the winning number is 14, Lucky Mark Money. That number again is 14, Lucky Mark Money. And we have a red ball. Congratulations to all our lucky winners. You've won $28 for every $1 played on the winning mark. And now we'll draw today's Pick 2 numbers. And the first Pick 2 number is 25. That number again is 25. And now for our second Pick 2 number. And the second Pick 2 number is 6. That number again is 6. Today's Pick 2 numbers are 25 and 6 in that order. And now let's draw the winning numbers for this afternoon's Pick 4 draw. Pick 4 number is 1. That number again is 1. The second Pick 4 number is 3. That number again is 3. The third Pick 4 number is 4. That number again is 4. And the fourth and final Pick 4 number is 0. That number again is 0. This afternoon's winning Pick 4 numbers are 1, 3, 4 and 0 in that order. Congratulations to all our Playway Pick 2 and Pick 4 winners. Saturday's Lotto Plus jackpot is now an estimated $2,200,000. And now for some cashpot news. 6 lucky players who chose yesterday's 5 winning numbers each won $27,467. Congratulations to all new cashpot winners. Remember to top up your cell phones at our online terminals and at the same time pay your WASA, TSTT, Courts, Lucky Dollar stores, Green Dot, DirecTV and Flow Cable bills, as well as your postpaid Digicel or B-Mobile bills. And this week's Scratch Second Chance winners will be announced during this evening's draw. Thanks for viewing and join us this evening at 6:30 p.m. for another Playway Pick 2, Pick 4 and Cashpot draw.
Back to our program.
just sticking with some of the more current issues like my colleague just did. Last weekend, an internal poll of the UNC was leaked. And today you're launching your campaign to go forward, this manifesto. And I'm just wondering, what are your thoughts on some of the findings? Specifically,
which poll? The internal poll
the
or
internal one commissioned?
Or the polls of today?
No, the
Sure.
UNC commissioned poll.
Look, I can't say that was a UNC commission poll or not. I don't know, it ended up in the newspaper. But the point is that was a poll done some time back. We have to remember that a poll is a snapshot of a moment in time, the time when the poll was taken. And therefore, that cannot really guide us as to what goes forward or not. In fact, the polling that came out this weekend shows a very positive sign for the partnership, and that we are out in front. So at that point in time, whenever that may have been done by whomever it was done, that was it in that time of polling. At this time, the latest polling has shown us out front, and I'm positive the polling forward will show us even better. But the thing is, we must never take any vote for granted. I think that is the most important point in this job and in this business. Never take any vote for granted, and we will continue to work to share our thoughts or plans or policies or programs as we're doing today with the manifesto launch, so that we can communicate with the voters, and for the voters then be able to make a proper choice as to whom they would want to be Prime Minister of this country in after September 7. So, Kamal, I hope that answers your query on that alleged poll that was leaked by some alleged person, which was done at some alleged time. But in this present time, the polling puts us out in front, but we have a lot more work to do. Yeah? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister. Thank you, Minister Tiwari, members of the media. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our media launch. Please view the screens on the sides for a concluding video.
Can we just hold for a moment, please? Thank you. I just want to advise those of you here and through the media, on Monday we will not have a Monday night forum this Monday. Instead, we will have what we are terming Manifesto Monday. I mentioned it earlier. Manifesto Monday will be that every constituency will meet with their key activists, okay? So throughout the country, the 41 constituencies, key activists will meet with their executives and so on, where their candidates with their candidates, where their sitting MPs with their sitting MPs, and they will spend the time on reviewing the manifesto, familiarizing themselves now with the final version of it. We did get information from the constituencies, but this is the final version. And so Monday I have dubbed to be Manifesto Monday throughout the country. So all of you, please get yourself mobilized and organized. And secondly, to let you know that on Sunday the 16th of August, the day prior to nomination day, we shall present all 41 candidates in a mass rally beginning at about 4 p.m. The venue will be disclosed. We're looking at 2 venues at the moment. Within a day or so, we'll let you know. So when you have your Monday manifesto meeting, at that same you can have your Monday mobilization meeting for the presentation of candidates on the 16th. So that is it, and now I'm back to you with the video. Thank you all very much. Have a great day. Thank you, and a great weekend. Thank you very much.
Prime Minister Kamla Prasad Bisesa and her People's Partnership have a plan for the next 5 years. A plan that will secure a better future for everyone in our country.
Our children deserve the best possible start in life. A good education is the foundation of success and prosperity.
A good education is important, but it's just the start. There need to be good jobs for young people at the end of it.
Things are really getting better when it comes to crime, but it's still an issue. There are still real concerns. We need real decisive actions to keep our streets and our countries safe.
is a priority for me and my family. I want my family to be safer, healthier, better educated, and more prosperous.
I want action to make our country stronger.
I want new, better jobs for workers and our unemployment rate to remain low.
I support improvement. I really want improvement in the lives of my family and everyone in our country.
And that's what Kamla Persad-Vicence's plan for Trinidad and Tobago will achieve. So on 7th September, let's keep going forward with the Prime Minister who has a plan for a country and a vision for our future.
And there you had the video ending this manifesto launch, Kamla's Plan, 20 Pledges for 2020. And of course, you heard from the Prime Minister over the last few minutes some of her plans and policies that she plans to achieve if given a second term in office. She's addressed several issues, transport being one of them, national security and others, and addressing some of the current issues of the day, including the Debates Commission and of course the appointment of the head of the public service. This is how we bring down the curtains here on CTV. We brought you live coverage of the Prime Minister's manifesto launch for the 2015 general election. You're going to stay with C News and CTV throughout the course of the day. Talk to the 91.1 as well. We'll continue to analyze these findings and of course the manifesto launch. We'll have the commentaries, all of that right here on CTV, Talk City and C News Live. Let's hear from you as well. Send your comments at C News Live. We'll tell you what you have to say later on in our newscast with Samantha John. On behalf of the entire team here in Arangwes, I'm Larry Lumsden, thanking you for joining with us.